It's over. Hey guys!
Hey guys, hey, how you doing? How you doing? Make sure everybody can hear us.
All right, I'm gonna go back over.
Let's see comments because I got to make sure they can even hear us.
And guys, for a minute, I got to split the screen, so just give me a. There we go. I've got comments that should be pulled up on my phone.
What is that for? Oh, I got you. All right, like usual, guys. Another professional with us. It's getting a little better. Mrs. G came up with an intro, and I did have the name of the people for the video, but
the first clip was Chili's mom. All credit to Chili's mom, guys.
On TikTok.
Gotcha.
Guys, we put that video up not to show you another stupid thing that truck drivers do. I put it up because you always hear me sticking up for the new guys in the industry, and you've always heard me saying, we just don't give the new guys enough credit, and I still stand by that. I really do. I stand by that. But now that I'm off the road and I'm working from the other end, and Mrs. G's working with what she does at the truck stop.
It's like I'm getting around there.
I make it sound like you're a lot lizard.
I know.
But I don't want to mention the name of the truck stop because these are all my own opinions. You guys know me. I just speak from the heart and what's on my mind. But a lot of these drivers are coming out and they don't even know what kind of truck they're driving.
They don't know what kind of oil goes in their truck. They don't know. There's a lot.
And I just don't understand. And everybody's going to say, well, it's the schools. We got to do something about the schools. The schools are not there to teach them how to be a truck driver. The school is there to teach them how to get that stupid CDL test passed because it makes no sense. What I told my students every single time was take almost everything I taught you and throw it out the window because once you get that CDL, now it's time to learn to be a truck driver. And these big mega corporations are failing to teach these guys. Guys, I want to introduce you to Jeremy Moser. I'm sorry. Jeremy's sitting over here. He's with, let me read it a little again. allyourtruckingneeds.com.
What's up, everybody?
That's actually a joke because me and Jeremy was just talking about that name a little bit ago. I thought it was a great name. You did a good job, Jeremy.
Well, I own it now.
Oops, we're going to tell everybody hi, and we're going to...
Yes, how you doing, guys? How you doing? You know me, I just get into a rant, and I keep going. Believe me, I got a whole lot more to say. I mean, am I talking bad about the new guys? No, I'm not talking bad. I'm talking bad about them not being trained. Me and Jeremy was talking the same thing, and Jeremy said, you know what, G, we got to do something about it. So, Jeremy, hell, I got my hands full, bud. I try to do what I can. And Jeremy said, well, it's about time I do something. And Jeremy started his own company. He's going to start helping new owner-operators learn how to be owner-operators, not these glorified lease operators that are glorified company drivers. No offense, guys, but most of your lease programs, such as these big corporations, and I will not name no names because I don't want no backlash, but you know who they are.
Exactly.
They're going to tell you, let us teach you how to be an owner-operator. We got the whole book. We'll give you the whole kit and caboodle. Come on down. And you know what? You get that jacket and you get that ring and you get that hat and all them other goodies they give you every year. And guess what? You are a glorified company driver, and I hate to break it to you. And if you're making a profit, there's no harm in it. But how many don't make a profit?
Yeah.
Am I correct, Jeremy?
Well, you're 100% correct. And then on top of that, how many of them don't even know how a profit is made? All they see is what the company puts in front of them on a load board that they're taking some horrible percentage of, but have no concept or understanding of how that load, for example, even ended up with that company or how they're seeing it. They don't understand any of the operational aspects of the business that they're now in. All they know how to do is to hold the steering wheel. I hate to use that terminology.
These guys
but
don't even know how to file their 2290s, Jeremy.
Yeah, and don't even know what a 2290 is.
No,
Have no
exactly
idea what.
correct.
Right. Have no idea what IRP is. Have no idea why they're having a deduction for IFTA and what that stands for from their settlements. Like they have no concept of all of the different things that are allowing them to be out doing what they're doing to begin with. And quite frankly, just how easy it is to actually do it on your own instead of being, at the risk of saying this, again, not naming names like like you suggested, but instead of being robbed, actually being paid according to your skill set.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the
And
thing that gets
that's
me
what it's
is
come
they're
down
telling
to.
them they're going to teach them how to be an owner or operator. They don't learn none of the back office type stuff like we were talking about.
Yep.
The other thing they don't learn is they learn that, okay, here's a load. Do you want it or do you not want it? No, I don't want it. Let me give you another, excuse my language, shitty load. Do you want it or you don't want it? And then they work their way down until they finally find something that you're willing to take because they're tired of sitting there. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have been there. So you can raise your hand or you can just keep your mouth shut like I probably would. But no, I wouldn't. But anyways, they don't teach you that where the lanes are. They teach you where their customer lanes are, but they don't teach you where the freight is coming back and how to get back into the good freight. And then there's other guys that are teaching you, well, let's run nothing but the DAT board. There's a happy medium, guys. When I started, we had a DAT board. It was on the wall in the truck stop. And was everybody in front of it? No, not everybody was in front of it. Only the guys that needed that backhaul because they didn't have customer freight. You've got to have that balance and diversify a little bit. And I know a lot of you guys, I know a few people are going to laugh at that word diversify. But it's exactly what me and Jeremy were talking about.
Well, I mean, even a step further than that, I mean, you use the term backhaul. Back in the day, we didn't even call backhaul. There was no such thing as a backhaul. Everything was head haul. The only difference is okay, well, I got to load out to California
money,
and I want to go back out to Pennsylvania, but it wasn't a backhaul, and I wasn't accepting some broker or some guy on a phone telling me, oh yeah, I got this great backhaul for you. No, it's all head haul. And that's it's operational understanding. It's operational influence. And quite frankly, the industry has become this thing that everyone is trying to take advantage of these new people that are coming into the industry. From the second they get that CDL, it's how can we take more away from this person?
Keep talking, Jeremy. I'm sorry. I was pinning a comment.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Trying to pin it.
There we go. Yeah, it's like how can I get how can we take more away and work these people harder and harder when that's never that was never my desire when I got into the trucking industry 20 plus years ago, was to be robbed at every turn and corner. I mean, the whole objective was to start something for my wife and my kids and my family that could be left
for the future
over to them.
Not trying to make a killing, just trying to make a living.
That's right. Absolutely. But the industry is no longer set up to teach new people and some of the people who've been in the industry 4, 5, 6 years, who've been lease operators or have worked for these big lease contracts, that are paying
Jeremy, you ain't wearing
$1,100 a week.
Gina's comment there. Read it out loud if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We tried lease ownership for Trans Am Trucking. My husband had been a driver for almost 18 years, company driver with other companies, and we saw the ability to lease to own our own semi. It was a total scam. We were completely busted within 3 months. We learned what it was like to pay your employer to work for them. Oh, the truck made $3,500 a week, but our check was $67. No joke, 67. And do not ever lease to own a semi from any company because it's a ripoff. Yeah, no, that's absolutely the truth.
It's the same story everywhere. And let me kind of, we'll go back to that in a second, Jeremy. And I'm not trying to cut you off, brother.
Yeah, go for real.
Here. It's the same story at all these companies that I've ever seen. I mean, every once in a while I'll hear a success story, and hallelujah,
Rare.
I'm proud of you. But for that 1 or 2, 3, 4, 5 success stories, I hear 100 others that didn't make it.
You hear this
because
story.
of it. You hear something like this. And Gina, I'll go back and, like I said, I don't name names, but that exact company I reached out to, I think it's been about a couple years ago.
It's about 3 years.
About 3 years ago, and I wanted to find out what the truth of the matter was, and they would never reach back out to me. But I run into one of their drivers at the Kenworth dealership in Nashville, Tennessee. And he came in there while I was getting some work done on my truck, and he wanted to know if anybody could help him with this kingpin. So I went out there. Well, Mrs. G automatically, I wasn't there when he came in. She said, my husband, he's Trucker G. He'll come help you. No, she didn't say Trucker G, but my husband, he'll be out there and help you in a second. Because she knows I would. And I came out, and she goes, hey, this guy needs help. I goes, where's he at? And she goes, I don't know. He was here a minute ago. So I went out there, and I seen him. I said, well, let's go check it out, bud. And it was just they never taught him how to raise or lower his fifth wheel, or his not his fifth wheel. He didn't have dumps in his truck, but they didn't teach him how to raise or lower the landing gear. And actually, in order to make that connection, and it just wouldn't latch for him. Well, no, it's not going to latch. We need to lower it down a little bit, bud. And I show him exactly what I'm looking for and what he needs to look for, and teach him how to latch a trailer. This is all things that they should be taught. Yeah, he should have been taught at school, but guess what school he went to? This company school.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any training after the fact.
Is Jeremy muted?
No. He didn't get any training after the fact. He said that was his first load. He was straight out of school. They gave him a truck. They gave him a load, and they said, see ya.
And I just wanted to see if it was fact or fiction, so I did call the company. They never did return. I told them who I was and what I planned on doing, and I didn't do the video. And the reason why I didn't is because I just didn't feel I had enough information. But with hearing that, it brought up the name, and it was just more horror story. Like I said, I've never had an experience with them myself, so I'm just speaking out of opinion.
Well, I mean, you raise a good point there. At the end of the day, I'm watching the comments over here, and I see someone talking about high hooking and whatever the case may be. I don't know how many times in the last several years of my career prior to coming off the road, I had to help, and even in entertainment, because the last several years of my career was spent in the entertainment industry. Even there, people would high hook a fifth wheel and have no idea how to get out from underneath the kingpin.
No.
And
call road squad.
Simple little things like that.
Yeah, I can't get these tandem slid. Call road squad.
Yeah. I don't know how to slide my fifth wheel.
My brakes. Call road squad.
Yeah.
They don't teach you anything anymore, but at the same time, I understand on some of the stuff because insurance companies got their hand in it. And if you teach them brakes, now you took liability. But there's some things that you just got to teach them for their own safety.
Well, yeah, absolutely. There's so much going on in the industry with where safety is actually concerned, or a lack thereof, that, these large company trucking academies and training schools, it's just shuffling seats. That's all they're shuffling seats. They don't care what the person knows, as long as they can put it in drive or put it in reverse, and then how to pull a little yellow and red handle and swing some doors. That's all that they care about. The rest of it, You know, then you top it off with self-insurance. I mean, most of these larger carriers are self-insured, so their accident tally and the cost of their accident don't really matter to them. And
No.
it's so different for the small independent mom and pop who is now going out into that industry or wanting to go out into it on their own, and then they see the cost of insurance for their one truck, and it's like,
Yeah.
but wait a minute, I've been driving for 10 years and I have a perfect driving record. Why is
Matter
my
of fact,
insurance $2,000 a month?
not to cut you off, Jeremy, just
Yeah.
happened last week.
That's
A
right.
gentleman called me up. He was trying to get on with my company, right? And I
Yeah.
was trying to get him set up. And he says, gee, he goes, I don't know what else I'm going to do. He goes, if this don't work out, he goes, I'm out of business. He goes, I said, how long you got? He goes, I got another week. I said, give me a week and I'll figure out we'll figure it out. So I try to get him on, leased onto us, and not that kind of lease, guys.
No.
Contracted onto us. There's a difference between lease and contracted, guys. And people get that confused. And
there's what is
so I try
referred
to
to
get
as
him
an
contracted
equipment
on with
lease.
us. Do what, Jeremy?
There's what is referred to as an equipment lease, which is contracted.
Yeah, we'll
versus
explain
a
that. We'll go over
lease
that here in a minute.
operator.
Exactly.
Right, versus a lease operator. There's a huge difference between the two things.
So basically what I did is I tried to get him set up with us, and his CSA was just safety and compliance, guys. It goes all back to safety and compliance. The CSA score was too high over one inspection. And let me tell you what the inspection was. The inspection was stupid light stuff, and it wasn't an out of service. It was warnings. Do not take a warning, guys. Take that damn ticket. Yep. Insist on the ticket. You can fight the ticket. You cannot fight a warning. And guess what? The warning brings your CSA score down, and you are screwed. Like a better word. The warning
still goes on your inspection report as a violation, and that violation still accrues on your CSA and your safety rating.
Yeah. But this gentleman, Jeremy, there is a bright side, a silver lining in that cloud.
Yes.
He called me up. I had to call him up and said, man, it didn't work out with us. But don't give up hope. I got another number. I want you to call this number. And I gave him the number to my insurance lady. She got him insurance affordable. Mm-hmm. And he came back and said, gee, thank you so much, brother. Thank you. Changed his whole life. And I'm not trying to toot my horn. What I'm saying is they don't teach you this stuff, guys. And they need to. The more you know, the stronger you are.
Well, I mean, here's a good example of all of this. How many small or quote unquote lease operators, these big company lease guys, whatever the case may be, how many of them know what their operations costs are? It's such a simple thing to figure out what it costs to operate your truck, for example. Because if you're operating at a deficit, you cannot stay open. You can only carry that debt for so long before the reaper comes a reaping. So something just as simple as understanding the cost of the operation of your business, which is something that none of these new people know. They're not taught. They have absolutely no idea. That's why you see people hauling freight for $1.15, $1.20 a mile.
Frankie Nashville says,
"What up,
wait,
Frankie?"
He says, wait, is this a fishing show? Reel it in, Frankie. I tell you what, I've got the fishing show. I've got my aquarium over there, but today we're talking trucking.
Yes, good Lord, Frank. Don't get him started on fish.
I love my aquariums. I love my reef tanks. But today, I'm still a truck driver, guys. I'm Trucker G. That ain't going to change. You might see a whole lot more of my reefs, and you will, believe me. But I'm still a trucker. Everything. What's the saying?
Trucking is life.
Trucking is life. Life is trucking.
Yeah. Okay,
no matter what you do.
Dave Newland had a question. If you get a ticket, what you get it down to a non-moving?
You get a lawyer and you get him to get the best thing he can get for you, and at least you have a fighting chance. Maybe you pay the ticket and he gets no CSA violation score against you.
Correct.
And that's the best case scenario, to be honest with you, or the worst case scenario, to be honest with you, in most places.
Well, and here's the other side of fighting it. Roughly 80% of the time, the DOT officer that wrote the violation isn't going to show up for a court appearance, which means, and especially if you stay away from the beginning of the week, and your attorney would know all these things, but 8 out of 10 times, they're not even going to show up, which then puts the ball squarely in your attorney's hands to get it to reduce to whatever. A lot of times, judges will flat out dismiss the stuff just because of the lack of appearance.
They know each other.
Oh, I get you. I'm sorry. I would.
He squirreled.
Got a couple people that knew each other on here.
No, he squirreled.
That's pretty cool. What was really cool, hey guys, and I didn't introduce Jeremy correctly. If you guys watch the convoy at all, this here's Papa Bear.
Papa Bear.
And
what's up, y'all?
Everybody talks about X-Ray. Papa Bear was the man that made this happen from Atalanta all the way.
Mm-hmm.
He was in on everything that kept us safe out there on the road. He watched for everything. He had our back 100%.
Yep.
And he had to leave pretty soon after we reached Hagerstown, wasn't it, Jeremy?
Well, I was in Hagerstown for a week.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I got
set on fire. I got set on fire.
I remember that night.
I got hit with a firework. My leg
you made it a whole lot further than I would have, as bad as you got burnt, brother.
Yeah, I stayed there. After I got burnt, I stayed for an additional 3 days from the time that I got my leg burned up. And, so.
And I'll apologize for that too, Jeremy, because I'm actually the one that talked to the girl, not into hitting you. I talked her into, just shoot it, because everybody else is shooting at each other. And so she finally got into it, and then I left her alone. And that's the next thing I know, I heard Jeremy got hit. I'm thinking, oh my Lord, I should have stayed there.
Well, yeah, and I was wearing track pants, like the nylon running pants.
They just melt.
And they just melted right to my skin.
Yeah, it was bad.
See what happens when I leave you unsupervised? Because I was nowhere near him when this happened. Or it would not have happened.
She would have been in on it. Don't even lie.
I had second and third degree burns on my leg.
She'd have hid behind me and started shooting everybody.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Hey,
no worries there, Anthony. We appreciate it.
I also want to talk about this lease thing. I kind of want to clear something up too, guys. There's a difference between one of them company lease programs and a third-party lease. Third-party lease is probably going to cost you a little more in payments if you don't have the credit. It is. It just is. I'm going to tell you. But what I do like about a third-party lease, if you're going to do any kind of lease at all, is you can take your truck wherever you want to go.
You're not
bound to that company. Now you're no longer a company driver. You are actually an owner-operator that is leasing a truck to drive. There's a big difference.
And that's a whole nother animal. Now you're getting into getting your motor carrier's authority.
Exactly. Or leasing on with another company, whatever it be.
Or leasing on with a motor carrier, correct. The big company leases, and I actually want to correct you on something, G. I want to say this. So the average payment per week on a big company lease is about $1,100 a week.
Yep.
You're talking $4,400 to $4,500 a month. Even if you go through like Lone Mountain or one of those places to get your truck, which is like a third-party lease like you're referring to, even with terrible credit, you're not going to be anywhere near $4,000 a month on that lease through a place like Lone Mountain. You're probably going to be somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. So even though it's higher than what it would be if you went out and purchased a truck with good credit yourself, It's
Yep.
still way cheaper than any of these big company lease operation
Yeah,
programs.
Oh, definitely.
And you're not bound to the company.
You're not bound
the great
to.
part. Yeah,
Correct. You're not
stuck.
bound to
That's
the
what
big
I don't
boy.
like, the company and recruiters. And actually, that's what I'm doing a lot of right now, Jeremy, is recruiting. And
Gotcha.
But I'm approaching it different because I
Mhm.
don't know how to be a recruiter.
He doesn't know.
But all these recruiters
And
will
you don't know how to
promise
lie
you
to
the
people?
moon, and it's a lie. If they promise you anything, it's a damn lie.
It's a lie.
A recruiter cannot promise you nothing.
Nope.
Now, I'm going to tell you I'm going to do my best. I'm going to tell you, hey, I got all kinds of freight because I do. But I'm not going to tell you, hey, I promise I'm going to make you $1 million by the end of this year. There's just no way. And anybody that promises you anything, I'd say hang up the phone.
Yep.
Yeah. The second anyone says that they can promise you something, no.
Or you're going to make this or you're going to make that. No.
Nope.
I tell you what. You tell me what your lowest guy's making, and you tell me what your highest guy's making.
Yep.
And then I know I cannot probably beat. I know for a fact I can beat the lowest guy. So I usually figure out where's the middle.
Yep.
And I know I'm going to be somewhere in the middle to the upper, and usually it was the upper with me. But I'm going to tell you right now, there were some companies that wasn't the upper, and I had to move on. Mm-hmm. But if you got that lease at that company, you were bound to them. All that investment you put into that truck, gone if you leave.
Gone.
Oh yeah.
So that's how they hold you.
Oh, and go ahead and miss a couple of payments.
Yeah, I
want that
lease payout.
Well, and not to mention, they go through after, if you lose the truck to them for any reason, they go through with a fine-tooth comb and they hit you with every nickel and dime penny they can find.
Plus the cost of the inspection.
Yep.
And the ELD removal. And
hey, Johnny,
and if you had a reserve account, you don't have a reserve account anymore.
Yeah. No.
Because not only are you going to pay, so let's just say for the sake of argument, they go through it and tell you need 4 new drive tires. You best believe they're not using their big tire discount to buy those new tires. You're going to pay full swing plus an additional 10 or 15% on top of it for the cost of each one of those tires. So that $550 tire now costs you $700.
Mm-hmm.
Believe me, I've done stupid 10 times or a million times over, guys. And believe me, I was sucked into that lease operator stuff just like you were. That's why I'm telling you the truth. I'm not gonna. I don't want to see people make the same mistakes I did.
We want you guys.
And I don't mean recent mistakes. I'm talking past mistakes.
Yes.
You learn by your mistakes, and I'd rather you learn by my mistakes than make them your own.
Correct.
You know how kids are, though. My kids, they don't learn by my mistakes. But now they're looking back. Dad, I should have stayed home. I should have lived with you. You were right, Dad. And I'm not saying I'm your daddy, guys. You know that. We got to help each other in this industry. And that's what we don't have enough of. Enough of us helping each other. And if we don't help each other, we know these mega carriers ain't helping these guys get trained.
Heck no. All they're doing is sitting back collecting money off of them.
Yep. Reselling trucks 3, 4, 5 times in a row for all the failures, and then they finally decide to let it go to one lucky customer after it's been paid for 6 times.
Not to mention the fact that they haven't done any upkeep on it in between selling it to all those different drivers, and then they take it to the shop, and it's a hefty bill to get it repaired.
Yeah.
And you would absolutely know, because I know you see that every day.
Every day. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Every day.
But
it's crazy.
You can only, give your opinion and your advice, and whether someone takes it or not, that's entirely up to them.
Yep.
That's right.
And so much gets placed on the back, and I said it, I'll say it again, I said it a million times, so much gets placed on the backs of these schools. And I think these mega carriers actually like that because it takes the heat off them. It's these schools' fault. No, it is not the school's fault, guys. Get that through your head. It is not the school's fault. It's our government's fault for making the students learn what the government wants them to learn. The FMCSA, it's their fault. It's the mega carrier's fault for not teaching the guys that come out of the school the correct way.
Mm-hmm. They set them up for failure.
But all the blame gets put on the school.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, if you look, so I mean, we didn't go to schools, number one,
No, I didn't
to
go
get
to.
our licenses. I mean,
Believe
neither.
me, nobody should learn the way I
Right.
learned.
We didn't go to schools.
Straight up
However,
on
when
the
you
same
look
page.
at these schools, the basic premise of these schools is nothing more than a means of putting a piece of plastic in someone's hand.
For the
And
most part, every once in a while,
it
if you go to the right schools, you go to some accredited
cor-
schools. Because I was an
correct.
instructor for many years.
Right.
You'll get guys that'll teach you a little more. Now, if it's a student
Yeah.
that's struggling, they're going to focus 100% on let's get you past the CDL test. Now, if it's somebody
Correct.
that's excelling in class and can stand to learn a little more advanced teaching, then they're going to teach you a little more as they're spending a one-on-one time with you, and you're going to learn from the mistakes of others as you go along. I was very good at instructing. I was really good at it.
I want to say something here. Someone made a comment here. Cindy
Yeah,
Chase said, "Why did Obama make it okay for non-speaking English peeps to drive? How do they pass the test and do the paperwork or the ELD?" So I'm going to answer this for you real quick. So to be clear, the FMCSA has a regulation in place that has been in place since the 1980s about speaking English. However, it was never an actual mandatory requirement. It was requested. It was not a there's a lot of controversy on this. It's been in the FMCSA's guidelines for a long time, but it was a guideline. It was never a firm rule
Regulation.
that was congressionally backed. However, the way they're passing these tests is that the CDL test, the written portion, is given in more than 14 languages. A lot of people don't know that. If you go to the DMV currently and you happen to be Chinese or you happen to be Indonesian or whatever the case may be, the computer CDL written form test is can be taken in your language.
yeah.
So yeah, that's how they're
Yeah.
doing it. Then there's a lot of illegal schools also that are just randomly
Oh yeah.
passing
like
out
computer.
CDLs. So, but that's a whole nother animal entirely. The legal
You one for you.
only
You get one, and you get one. A
right.
CDL for you, and you, and you.
Yep. The legal foreign immigrants that are driving that actually did take the test and pass it at an accredited school or whatever,
I know a
they
lot
just
of
took it in their
very
own.
good
They just
legal
took it in their
driving
own
people.
language.
I know a lot of very, very good legal driving people that come from overseas. And I don't
Yes,
want to just say
absolutely.
one country because
There's
I've seen them in all
different
countries.
countries.
Yeah.
It's just we get focused on the ones that don't know English. I mean, it's simple. I mean, I'm not going to beat around the bush, but let me kind of. I'm going to either sound really stupid here and show you the hillbilly I am, or I'm going to sound just like I know way too much. I'm not
Good
sure.
Lord.
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
It's a 50-50
So
shot.
pretty much, I'm a hillbilly. I might be a squirrel that found himself a blind squirrel that found himself a nut. Who knows? But anyways, is not the FHA or the FFA?
FMCSA.
No, hold on.
FMCSA.
No, the FFA ain't they?
Oh.
Ain't they all kind of together? FMCSA, or how do I say this? Basically, what I'm saying in aviation, they have what they call aviation English, and that is universal for every single country. Aviation English. And believe me, it's English, but it's right to the point. And I don't care if you speak Honduran, and like I said, I'm a hillbilly, guys. I don't care if you speak
FAA language, correct?
Swahili.
Yeah.
If you're a pilot, you speak aviation English.
Yes.
What's the difference in trucking, guys?
Yeah.
We have to be able to communicate to safely operate our vehicles.
Correct. And I think you're going to see Arkansas started with the stuff that Arkansas just recently started by stopping and checking drivers' English and ability to read and write. I think you're going to see a movement, in this country. Even I just read something today actually in Freightwaves. The CEO of Truck Stop said that she believes that the TIA and the ATA need to actually, for a change, come together with the trucking industry and push for congressional change in the fraud, scamming, and the lack of English speaking and understanding and illegal driving.
The general public should be scared. They should be outraged, and they should be raising a fuss over this, guys, because you don't know who you're driving next to. And I didn't realize it was that bad. Otherwise, I'd been warning you a long time ago. I was sticking up for the truck driver. But coming off the road and me talking to some of these guys and seeing what they know and what they don't know, and Mrs. G working with them, coming into a shop that she works at, naming no names, of course.
We're seeing it from a whole different aspect.
Yeah, there's guys that they have to get a phone, and if they don't understand, if the phone don't understand them, then they're just oblivious. It's like, I don't know. Then they call their buddy, and their buddy's on the other line, and they don't know either.
Yeah.
So what's Mrs. G do?
It's very difficult to communicate at times.
Well, I mean, just speaking on the subject of people not knowing or understanding. I mean, I spoke to a gentleman today. I'm obviously not going to mention any names, but he just got his motor carrier authority, got his US DOT number, just bound his insurance, and did all that stuff. And he paid somebody some obnoxious amount of money to get things that should have only cost him a few $100s. But anyways, he called me for some help. And I'm like, okay, so what exactly do you have in place? And he tells me what he has in place. So I was like, okay. I was like, well, are you aware of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G? And he's like, well, no, I didn't know that I needed that. What's up, dude? He's like, well, I didn't know I needed that. Do I really need that? I was like, well, of course you do. I mean, it's Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration and Department of Transportation laws, rules, and regulations. Like, you're not legal to drive.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh my God, well, how long is all this going to take me? I said, well, you got a minimum of 21 days till you get to this point. I said, in that time, you need to get this, like all of these different things. He's like, well, no one ever told me I needed all this stuff. I was like, well, you go out there and drive without having all of these things just because you have a motor carrier authority and insurance and you get DOT'd, you're done. You're going to jail or more.
Wendell says half of these drivers don't even know how to back into a dock. And unfortunately, it's sad but true.
Absolutely the truth.
But going back to what you said, he had no clue until you opened his eyes to it.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. So in the last 30 days, there has been 11,200 and change new motor carrier authorities.
Oh, that's actually gone down quite a bit from when
it has gone down quite a bit.
Yes, the roof.
But when you consider
how many have gone out though?
Right, how many have gone out? But when you consider now, not all 11,000 and change of those are brand spanking new. Some are just switching things around or scamming or playing their game. But let's say that 50% of those are brand new people getting into the industry, owning their trucking company for the first time.
7,000 people, 7,000.
Yeah, 7,000 people And 3/4 of them, if not more, are completely clueless as to what it actually takes to operate that business they just started.
I would lean on the if not more side, but yeah, you're correct.
Right. I'm trying to be nice here.
That scale is kind of tipping the if not more right here.
Yeah. But the things that I've even heard just in the last week or so in talking to some of these folks, if the sample size of the folks that I'm talking to that have no idea, none, zero, any clue, is any real indication of what's going on behind the scenes or out on the road, that means that there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of drivers out there behind the wheel of an 80,000-pound machine that have absolutely zero clue of what they're legally required to be doing.
Yeah. And let's kind of go back to the language barrier thing a little more, because I want to kind of put a little disclaimer out there. Guys, I'm not talking about somebody that don't speak the greatest of English, because I know I've got I've got a few Mexican drivers, and I've talked to a few, and they say, well, I'd rather text because my English isn't good. And so I said, shoot me your number. I know a little bit of Spanish, because usually if they're texting that good, they can speak better English than they realize. They're just embarrassed by it.
They're self-conscious.
They're self-conscious. And most of them that really believe, most of the people that really believe that their English ain't good, their English is a whole lot better than what they think it is. We're talking about the people that know absolutely nothing. Officer asks you, DOT asks you for your bill of lading. A what? No, usually not even a what. It's well, where's your insurance? Here's my book. And they want the DOT officer to go through. No, you got to have that stuff ready. Every page should be there. Your bill of lading in line, your insurance, IFTAs, everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, what about this accident that just happened a couple of weeks ago where the 5 people were killed?
Which one? Because there's been a few.
This was the one with the foreign individual who basically drove through a line of vehicles and killed 5 people.
Yeah, I heard about that. Gosh. And that's kind of like what happened a few years back in Colorado too.
I saw a video, I think it was on TikTok or somewhere else, where another driver caught the guy that was driving the semi that did this getting out of the tractor, and he's talking to him, and the guy spoke literally almost no English, like none. Like the guy's telling him, like, you realize you just killed people. Like, you're going to jail. Like, you just killed kids. And the guy's like, call dispatch, call dispatch. That's all he could do. Like, that was all the more he could say. Like,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was the one in Texas, correct. That was the wreck that happened in Texas.
Well, I will say that his company should be pretty happy about that, because he didn't say nothing that would hold them liable. But that just ain't right, guys, and it's not.
Well, apparently there's been a lawsuit filed against.
That's going to happen regardless.
Against that company for like $100 million. But regardless,
But I mean, what I was getting at is most companies will tell you, never say I'm sorry, never say this, don't admit any kind of guilt, don't.
They brief them.
Yeah, they it's all during orientation, guys. Mostly at these large corporations, the megacorps,
right, because they don't care at all about the driver. They literally only care about protecting themselves.
CYA, cover your assets.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Because
cover your assets. That's right.
Like that, and the driver will be left holding the bag.
That's right.
Yep. Oh yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Every time. Again, it's really a situation where, like, I think people think when they look at the trucking industry, they think that the Swifts and Snyders and JB Hunts and FedEx and UPSs of the world make up the majority of the industry. Not even close. In fact, statistically, they only make up about 28% of the entire trucking fleet that's on the U.S. highways.
Yep.
The rest are medium to small, independent, family-owned, privately owned companies, independent owner-operators.
Yep.
So the mass majority of the industry is independent.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these companies, or a lot of these individuals coming in to the industry currently, and for the last few years actually, they're starting their own companies. So it's actually a lot of, everyone wants to yell about Swift and Snyder and the rest of them.
Used to be JB Hunt.
They're throwing people into these trucks left and right and left and right.
Then there was Tricky Dicky. There was all kinds of them.
Oh yeah, but I mean, there's
Tricky Dicky wasn't
so
as bad,
many
as far as throwing anybody into the truck. I don't think. But there's a
What's
lot of
that?
companies that have that have that reputation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Mega
But I
corporations.
mean, but honestly, quite frankly, a lot of the mess is actually being created from these new motor carriers that are coming into the industry. Yes, Swift and Snyder and those guys, they're always going to have their problems. They're mega carriers. They don't train their people properly. Everybody's new. They're fresh. So, of course, they're going to cause accidents. I mean, that's just part and parcel for what they are. Company that has 10,000 trucks is going to have a lot of accidents because true experienced drivers are not going to those companies because of the pay disparity and the slave mentality of the company. But a lot of these deadly accidents that are actually occurring right now are actually small independent fleets.
Yeah. Well, the thing is guys, these guys that start their own companies, and this might be a little off topic, but these guys that start their own companies, a lot of them come from these big mega corporations and think they finally got it figured out because they went by the handbook and they did pretty good by the handbook. So let's just give ourselves a try with our own MC. Let's just dive right in. And they know absolutely nothing.
They know nothing.
Nothing.
They use their Swift lease operator handbook that taught them absolutely zero about actually owning a company.
When they figure it out, it taught them absolutely zero. They're either out of business, almost out of business, or they're watching YouTube videos to try to figure out what they're doing wrong. And guess who makes YouTube videos, guys? There's nobody on there that's going to teach you how to be an owner operator without charging you something, which rightfully so, because I mean, that's a job in itself to walk people through it. But nobody's going to do it without charging. The only one that's going to do it without charging is some guy that thinks he knows what he's doing now, but he's never been successful at doing it.
Yeah.
That's what me and Jeremy were talking about. And we've talked quite a bit here. And Jeremy, explain to him about allyourtruckingneeds.com. Because me and Jeremy kind of been spitballing and running all kinds of ideas together.
So allyourtruckingneeds.com is going to be a place that takes new or even people who've been around for a little while that don't understand the trucking industry from the back office operational, regulational, safety, compliance aspects, and actually teaching them these things from the ground up. So let's say, for example, you're a person who, man, you really want to get your own motor carrier's authority. You're sick and tired of being abused by the big company. We're not going to name them, but you're tired of being abused. You want to do your own thing because there's more profit in it, but there's also more work involved. But you just don't know really what to do, how to go about it. There's a bunch of companies out there that'll tell you, oh yeah, sure, we'll start your company for you. And we'll get you your MC and your US dot, and we'll get you some insurance, and you just do this and you're good to go down the road. Easy stuff, right? But they teach you nothing about the actual business side of owning a trucking company and what the government actually requires of you in order to remain compliant. So what we're doing is we are going to teach people from the ground up, or wherever you may be, or wherever you may need, whatever area you may need that help. But we're going to teach people from the ground up. If they want to get their authority, we will start them brand new, getting them their EIN number, teaching them, walking with them hand in hand, step by step, to get their EIN, to start their LLC, to get their US dot and their authority, to secure and bind insurance, to have all of the documentation, the driver qualification, how to build it, your lease, equipment lease agreement, your company policy, your drug and alcohol policy, all these things that are required. And there's a lot of them. I'm only naming a very small portion of what is required for a trucking company to operate legally. But teaching people from the ground up how to create and build and operate a legal and compliant trucking company. Once you've gotten to that point, if you decide you want to go further, more in depth in your studies and your education, and you want to learn how to build your new company's business credit and become a more profitable business where things are now properly separated out as they're supposed to be to protect you and your personal assets, you can then go and take some of those types of classes as well.
Yeah,
but it's essential.
I'm not trying to cut you off. Keep going.
No, go.
Well, I was just kind of going back on the whole deal right here from Chad. He says, for newbies that just got a CDL, the mega carriers are the only way to start out. The smaller companies won't take them. Most of them want 3 years OTR to start. And Chad, you're exactly correct. Anybody that's watched my videos from the very beginning of me starting, I say that first year is going to be tough. Put your time in. If you can make it at that company for that first year, great. That gives you a whole lot more companies that you can look at once you got that time behind your belt. If you're happy at that company the first year, stick there. Just don't buy into their dang lease purchase or their lease program is what I'm saying. No, everybody's got to get their start. And like Jeremy was saying, it's the little guys that make up most of this industry, but the big guys are self-insured and they can afford it. We can't afford to hire students. Believe me, we'd love to hire owner-operators would love to hire a student and be able to teach them right one-on-one, but can't do it. William, thank you so much for that super chat. Long time no see. God bless you. God bless you too, brother. But like I said,
yes, you have to pay. Listen, yes, you have to pay your dues. Let's be very clear about that.
Yes.
If you just got your CDL, yes, you absolutely have to pay your dues. Because I can tell you, if you were to decide to say, you know what, I just got my CDL and I'm going to get my own insurance and my own motor carrier authority, you could do it. But I can promise you, unless you are sitting on a whole lot of money that you have no use for, your insurance premiums are going to be astronomical. Like, let's talk in the neighborhood of probably $3,000 a month, $4,000 a month for one truck.
I'm going to cut you off, Jeremy, because you're younger than I am, and you could probably remember better than I am. I've got short-term memory.
I'm that much younger, brother.
Loss, and now I just never remembered what I was trying to say earlier. let's kind of rewind a little bit here, and let's go back to the new carriers that are new MC.
Yes.
Jeremy said that there's almost 12,000 per week.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, last month there was last month, the last 30 days there's been almost 12,000 new MCs.
Yeah, there for a while. 3 years ago it's like 12,000 per week there for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
During COVID,
but even 12,000 per month, guys. I just wanted to kind of add to that a little bit. Probably not even 15% of those guys make it after 1 year.
It's
probably 7%. Not even 5% make it after the first year.
It's 7. The current national average is 7%.
Is that what it is?
Yep.
Because of safety and compliance. They think, it's going good until that. Guess what?
Until that new entry audit
comes. Compliance audit comes up.
Yep.
And you're not ready.
You get that new entry audit, and they say, "Sorry, you're done." Yep.
What do you mean? What do you mean that big corporation that I worked for? We never had to do a safety and compliance audit. What is this thing?
Brother, I remember when I got my new entry audit years ago, and I will never forget it. The guy from the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation came to my office, right? They called and set up the appointment. They came in. And first thing he does when he gets there, I offer him a cup of coffee because I'm figuring this is going to be a long process, right? He's like, no, I'm good. He's like, let's go ahead and get started. So I take him into the office, right? And first thing I do is go unlock the filing cabinet. But I pull the keys out from an area that's completely, totally in a different area, right? Because that's actually part of it. You're not allowed to keep the keys for your filing cabinet with sensitive information in the same room as the filing cabinet.
No.
So he saw me do that. I went and unlocked the filing cabinet, and I was like, all right, well, what can I help you with first? He's like, all right, well, why don't you give me one of your driver qualification files? I was like, all right, great. So I pull out one of the DQFs, and I hand it to him, and there's an appendix in it that breaks down each section and what is in each section. And he looks at that, he opens it, flips through, and he's like, well, this is a bit excessive, don't you think? I was like, no, it's nice and neat, though. Find everything you need. And he looked at it. I'm going to tell you right now,
Jeremy, I didn't want to do that stuff when I drove. I hired somebody to do it for me. Right. Why did I hire somebody to do it for me? Because I didn't know how? No. I hired it for somebody to do it for me is because I can make more money doing something else by paying this guy basically pennies on the dollar of what I can make getting more loads.
Time. See, people don't understand the value of time. To be able to buy back your time is invaluable. People do not understand that concept, and you just touched on it entirely.
I never understood it, Jeremy. I mean, look at taxes, for instance. I'm not a tax guy. Why the hell am I going to mess with my taxes? Guys take off a whole week to go through their taxes. Some guys do. I mean, maybe you're really good at it. I don't know. But you're above average if you can do it in a day. I see guys take a whole week off just to do their taxes.
Yeah.
And guess what? They lost a whole week's revenue.
Mm-hmm.
What they could have paid somebody not even half of what it cost for that week's revenue.
They could have paid someone $500 or $600
professionally,
and made
out there making it
$7,000.
And all you got to do is glance at it and say, "No, we need to change this. We need to change that."
Yeah,
and it would have cost you no extra to change it.
Okay, but let's look at what you just said. Let's look at what we just said here, and that's another point in reference. Okay, so you took the week off. So you lost, let's say, $7,000 in gross revenue for the week, right?
Yep.
But let's account for the rest of it. Okay, so you didn't burn any fuel, so you don't have a fuel bill for the week. However, you still have a week that you have to separate or segregate out for insurance. You still have a week for segregating out all of your monthly expenses.
Everything.
So your truck just sat for the week.
You still have fixed costs.
You could have spent $600. But instead, you lost $7,000 and had to pay probably an additional $2,200 or $2,300 for sitting.
Yeah,
that's buying back your time.
Make no sense.
Correct.
And to go to Sydney Chase's comment here, never give up as a newbie. All good things come to those who wait. And hold on one second. I'm going to touch on this. I got to take a drink of my Dr. Thunder. Not sponsored, but it should be.
You're such a thunder.
Excuse me. But anyway, Cindy, this wasn't about knocking any new drivers. By all means, I want new drivers, and Cindy knows this. But any new drivers that think might be knocking them, no, I want to see you have the best training, the best information available to you. Because the more information that is available to you, and the more you're willing to learn, the safer my family's going to be out on the road. The safer all of our family's going to be out on the road. Because I'm going to tell you right now, a driver that ain't making any money is not a safe driver. His mind's somewhere else. His mind's not even on the road, and he don't even know it, because he's trying to take on too many responsibilities above what he should be worrying about. So now he's thinking about taxes while he's driving down the road, or now he's thinking about that audit that's coming up. Am I prepared for it? Instead of that family with little Timmy and little Sally Sue in the back seat, and grandma and their dog Trevor in the front with, you know what I'm saying, guys?
Yeah.
It makes me sad.
Correct.
It makes me sad. It makes me angry. And the new guys get correct. The new guys get all the backlash, and it's not their fault. Just like the schools get all the backlash, it's not their fault.
Yeah, and it's literally a lack of the lack of necessary knowledge, and it's the lack.
Let me pick everybody off a little bit here, Jeremy. I'm just telling you everything that's not their fault. Guess what? The non-English speaking drivers that are illegal, it's not their fault. It's our government's fault. If anyone on here, and I'll take it to my grave and I'll fight you in the front yard over it. If anyone on here says that they would not take their family to another country to better their life because they were starving, then you're either lying or you're just a worthless person, because who does not do anything they can to feed their family? I don't hold it against them at all. I hold it against our government for allowing it to happen. I hold it against all of us for not standing up and saying, you know what, enough is enough. But I don't hold it against the person. Love them just as much as I do anybody else. Sorry, I just had to get it out of my mind. It's a little rant. Guys, I haven't been on in almost a year. I had to get a little rant out.
Good Lord.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm going to take a blood pressure after this and see what it looks like, y'all.
And besides, the rant's actually a little more fun to hear than it is about the whole safety compliance. To be honest with you, Jeremy, I love you, brother, but safety and compliance and all the stuff that you spout is really freaking boring to me. But it is necessary, guys. It is absolutely necessary. And if you hate it as much as I do, there's your man.
Hey, G.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to read Ronnie Wharton's comment.
Yeah. Okay. You should have just read it to me.
Just read it.
And
What's that?
Read it to me, and I'll post it up.
It says, I drove truck for 37 years. The best teacher was the old-time trucker. You can make this happen. Jeremy, quit talking about something you don't know what you're talking about.
But in our day and age, there's a lot more compared to back then.
No, I just want to. So, G, we've known each other for quite some time.
Yeah.
Right. Do I know what I'm talking about?
Jeremy is very knowledgeable on most everything I've heard in trucking. Now, what I'm going to tell you, what the difference between Jeremy and a lot of these other guys that do the same thing, and there is other guys that do the same thing. Don't get me wrong, guys.
Absolutely.
I'm not knocking nobody, but I'm going to tell you what the difference is. Jeremy's not on the road because of medical reasons. Jeremy was a successful truck driver
and company owner,
successful business.
And
So, if y'all want to see why I'm off the road, here you go. If you can see that in the screen, I'm just 2 weeks out from having discs in my spine replaced because of trucking and the career of over 20 plus years behind the wheel and running a trucking company and having multiple drivers under my authority and participating in government actions, Mayday, the truckers convoy, and I
Do
don't
you guys
even
need a
know.
resume?
Yeah, if you need a resume as to my credentials,
He can write you up a resume.
yeah, I mean, if you really need it, I'm more than willing to provide it.
No, that's funny. Oh,
Yeah,
but hell,
and I'm not
we've been
young.
discussing this for a little over an hour now, Jeremy, and I
Yeah,
haven't gone through a lot of the comments. I've seen a lot of the comments, guys, and I love each and every one of you. I really do. And usually,
yeah, they're
we'll spend the
amazing.
first 30 minutes doing nothing but highs and how you doings, and I just kind of wanted to cut to the chase and get started with the topic tonight. And I think I'd like to start doing that a little more often.
Yeah.
And then save our comments and our interactions for later. I think that might be better. And
we could do that.
Because anybody that new comes to the channel, the first thing they do is they run across the video and they see, "How you guys doing? Trucker G here." "Oh, hey, how you doing? How you doing?" And for the next 15 minutes, you hear me tell
Yeah,
everybody hi, and they don't even have a
yeah.
chance to say hi because it's not even live.
Yeah.
So I think it might be better just for me to get into my rant or get into the topic.
We'll dive into the topic, and
Maybe
then
do
towards
things a
the
little
end of it,
different.
we'll read comments and greet everybody. And we know the G-Force is here in full effect. We love you all.
Yeah, and I want to start doing more of these.
Yeah.
Even if Mrs. G ain't here, I might just pop in from now and then. Hell, I might call Jeremy up and say, "Hey, Jeremy, you want to go live?"
That's if he can figure out how to get it set up on the computer, y'all. So I wouldn't hold my breath.
Yeah, I was going to
Oh
say
my,
Facebook
oh
Live,
my.
but that never works. Not for me.
Mrs. G throwing all kind of shade now.
I'm used to it.
Oh, I just realized that was Jeremy Moser. Hey, what's up, Mike? How are you?
Mike Foley, what's going on, brother?
Hey, Mike.
Oh, that's
That was a big
hysterical.
long one. What's that say, honey?
Says
Tracy, yeah, put her up there.
Tracy says my soon-to-be ex was company driver for a few
really dry.
companies. Then went to owner operator. Things went down, not getting enough loads, covered truck payment and insurance and fuel and repairs. Didn't make enough pay bills at his home. His mind wandered off somewhere. Started having affairs on the road. Then when he had a truck wreck, blamed it on me for stress on the road. I work my butt off, cover everything. Months ago, he left me to go back to his second wife.
Oh, I'm sorry
So
that happened,
sorry,
sweetheart.
sweetheart.
Wow, that's rough. I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
unfortunately, that's a pretty familiar story, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
80% of relationships don't work, and I'd say it's probably even higher. 80,
it's tough.
90% of truck drivers' relationships wind up in divorce.
Yep. Mike, I'm doing fairly well, all things considered. My trucking career is over, as far as behind the wheel, but you know me, buddy. It doesn't slow me down any.
And let me kind of reiterate on that real quick, because I don't want nobody to say, "Well, hell, I don't want to be a truck driver because hell, I'm married and I love my wife and my kids." Guys, that's not what they get divorced about. It's kind of that. It's kind of is, but what it is they have no communication. They don't talk.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And with communication, you can get through anything.
Yep.
Yeah. Absolutely 100% correct.
Even when you want to strangle him, you can still get
You just learn to like
good.
it. Is what you do. Easy now. It's almost dark.
It is almost dark.
You guys are an hour behind me. It's dark here.
Oh my goodness.
Mike Foley, that's good to hear, brother.
Let's see.
Yeah, now Mike's the only one talking. That's it. Mike and Cindy
says that dang saying, "What happens on
what
the
happened
road
stays on the road."
Vegas, baby, Vegas.
That never worked with me. I tell Mrs. G everything.
He does.
Now, if Mrs. G is with me, what happens on the road stays. No, I'm just kidding.
Good Lord, sweetheart.
City says it's dark here.
Brenda said
Lisa
it's dark.
says, "G's after dark. Let's go,
Let's go."
guys." It's Wednesday and almost 8:00 at night, and I've got to get up early.
I've got to be up at 4:00 in the morning.
And we've been on for an hour and 10 minutes, Jeremy.
I see that.
Have to put a pin in the after dark and do that on a separate one.
Guys, give us a thumbs up if you want us to do this, and let us know. I'd love to have you on more often, Jeremy. Me and Jeremy is actually going to be talking a whole lot more and working together.
Yes.
Not working together, but we're going to spitball and work together, basically.
Yeah, it's working together, brother.
Hell, one of these days he might just hire me.
I already told you the things go the way that we were discussing, and I'm thinking more. I'm going to need a partner in all this, my friend.
Well, let's just get you rolling for now, and see if that works. I mean, personally, I like the fact that you're doing something that try to change the industry in any way you can, and that's what this whole thing started. This actually went from a small idea, guys, to what Jeremy blossomed into allyourtruckingneeds.com.
So,
and he's actually expanding and building on it, and we're going to expand and build on it.
Should we give them the basics? Should we give them the basics here then real quick here at the end of things as to exactly what we are currently going to be offering?
Yes.
I say we keep them. I say we keep them on their toes a little bit. Just give them the basics, and then we'll have a whole nother video on exactly what it's all about. How's that sound?
All right, sounds like a plan. So
it sounds better when
I know it always sounds better when I say it, Jeremy. Welcome to her world.
So the basics of this is we are starting a online trucking academy to teach the ins and outs of creating, building, and owning a trucking company. I would say that pretty much is a basic explanation without going into gritty details.
Yep. Basically giving the guys the training that they should have got to begin with, but they were failed.
Correct. I would like to see the new independent owner operators go from a 7% success rate to an 80 or 90% success rate. I mean, there's always going to be failure. I don't care what anyone says, but I would like to see that it grows exponentially in a manner of success for the new guys that are trying to get into it and start their own companies. So we want to provide a school that will give them that information and training that they need from beginning to end so they can be and build successful companies.
Beth Hal says, I miss it, but owning my own, less headaches and BS.
Okay. Especially if you know how to do it the right way.
Is that right, Beth? Do you own your own, or are you did you get rid of your own and doing company now, so you don't want to deal with the other part? I can't remember, to be honest with you. I actually used to know everybody, and I know Beth, but I lost a lot of my memory, and I apologize for it. We've talked about this. I'm getting better.
Yeah, his memory is not the greatest, guy, since coming home. Chad says,
it did from 79 to 2011. Exactly. Okay. That's what I thought you were talking about. And guys, sometimes it's easier just to stay that company. But, I told you I instructed, right, for many years. Every student I ever came across, their goal was to be an owner-operator. Get my own truck. I'm going to be Smokey and the Bandit. Woohoo, let's go Convoy. Right?
Eastbound and down, baby.
And I'm just as excited for them as they are because I love it.
Yep.
But what I tell them is, slow your roll, player. Slow your roll. Yep. You do not want to jump into this. Learn trucking. Give it a couple years to learn the business, learn trucking, learn numbers, run that company truck like it's your own truck.
Yours.
Run the numbers.
Yep.
And then when it's time, when you are actually ready, have that money saved up, little by little. Buy that truck. Get your own MC or lease or contract onto a company. I hate using that word. Contract onto a company under their MC. It's, you got options. It's up to you which way you want to go. Just don't become a glorified company driver for these mega carriers, guys.
Right.
I don't care what bulls, malarkey. I have caught it. They're telling you. They're not teaching you how to be an owner-operator. They're teaching you how to be an indentured slave.
Yeah, no shit.
They're teaching you how to pay.
No crap.
They're teaching you how to line their pockets. That you finish that lease out at the end. At the end of the lease, you get that big payout that they give you. You see it on some of the billboards as you go down the interstate. Johnny Espinosa made, and these are just made up names, guys. If your name's Johnny Espinosa, it's not you. Made $20,000 in the lease program payout. What they didn't tell you is, okay, he also gave his truck back. He got $20,000, after they took maybe $12,000 of it for any kind of repairs that they seen, and we talked about that earlier. And no, he wants to keep the truck though. Well, heck, guess what, Mr. Espinosa? That's going to cost you $60,000. So here, we'll just keep that payout, and now you owe us another $40,000.
Yep.
Oh, don't worry, we'll finance it, and we'll charge you interest right on top of it. Come on down. Who's the next runner-up? It's crazy.
It is.
It sounds like fun and games, but it isn't funny, and it's not fun and games anymore. It's sad. They're go to SB's.
Hey, SB.
Here, SB is actually an old student of mine, guys.
SB says buying the truck in full saves a lot. Those truck payments ain't it. I bought mine in full after 2 years of OTR, not through a company. Listen to Trucker G.
You go, girl. We love you. Love you, SB. Yep. And I'm glad you're being successful, girl. And reach out to me. I might have some other things for you that you're in the exact right place. Reach out to me. I can help you out. I got loads.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up because it's getting late. And like I said,
Karen Napier, Mike Foley. Good evening. Hi, bro. How you doing, Miss Karen?
Hey, Miss Karen.
Cindy, Beth. Guys, hello. We love you all. And we will just come on here and do just a chit chat from now from time to time.
Exactly.
But I'd like to start digging more into trucking, just and more into life, and maybe just do our chit chats while I'm showing the aquariums and stuff. And we just catch up and have fun.
We'll just see how it goes. All right, guys. On that note.
Do that, SB. Send me a text.
We love y'all, and I hope you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you next time.
Love you guys.
Bye, guys.
Let's see. She's got to find the button here. Where's that button at, honey?